So I'm Matt King, I'm the gallery manager at Castle Fine Art Derby, and I'm here to talk to you about the Marvel Superheroes 2022 collection. The Marvel Superheroes 2022 collection. This was the first collection of Marvel Superheroes artwork that we published, but it's the last collection of Marvel Superheroes collection that we're going to release. There are 6 images. Each one was specifically collated and brought together by a small group of people, including the late great Stan Lee. This image is Amazing Fantasy number 15, which was created by Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. It was published in August of 1962. It's notorious for being the first ever commercial appearance of Spider-Man. Spider-Man went on to be Marvel's biggest and most important flagship character and represented, it's estimated, around 2/3 of their commercial success. This comic, The Amazing Fantasy, is not Spider-Man's own comic. It was a comic that was published as a tester for different characters. This comic, when it was released, did so well, it became one of the most read comics of all time instantly. And over time, it has been one of the most collected comics. To gain a good quality copy of this comic will cost you a small fortune. It's obviously one of Stan's favourite comics and one of the most important comics to Marvel collectors. That image of Spider-Man in his classic costume, drawn by Steve Ditko, created with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. It's just magnificent. This is Fantastic Four, issue number 49. Back in 1961, when Stan Lee was relaunching Marvel Comics in their new branding, he wanted to bring in a new group of characters. He looked at his rival DC Comics and saw that they had got a team of superheroes, and he liked that idea, apart from they were all a bit too perfect. So he loved the idea of bringing in a family. They became known as Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four, where you had different relationships that you might find in a family unit and of best friends. In this comic, they bring in the character of Galactus and his herald, the Silver Surfer, who are iconic characters within the Fantastic Four and massively important to the Marvel Universe. So this is The Mighty Thor, issue 154. I love Thor because Thor is the classic tale of a father trying to nurture their son and being embarrassed by how carried away with his own greatness he is. He takes him down a peg or two. Of course, in Thor's case, that's Odin sending Thor to Earth to live amongst human, normal people to learn a little bit of humility. This is a great Thor cover. Thor is just charging towards you with total power and majesty and his grandeur and his heroic stature. It's brilliant. This is The Amazing Spider-Man, king size number 6. The king size was like their annual that they released each year, a thicker version of a comic that could develop a larger story. In this one, Dr. Octopus puts together a team of 6 supervillains, including himself, who had each individually been beaten or defeated by Spider-Man in the past. His idea being that if they collaborated together, they could best Spider-Man. This comic cover actually links in quite nicely to the really popular film Spider-Man No Way Home, whereby we find Spider-Man meeting up with 6 of his villain characters that come through different time streams and different multiverses. Of course, in this one they didn't have multiverses, but it follows the idea. They did change a couple of the characters that are in there, So Mysterio is in this version of the Sinister Six, and Kraven, that's never been seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is Avengers issue number 4 from 1964. In this issue, they included a new character, that of Captain America. Well, I say new because he wasn't really new. Captain America had been a character in Marvel Comics' predecessor in the 1940s, but they wanted to bring him back with his pureness of the American ideal, partly to have that all-American hero, but partly so that they could create stories where the challenge between the American ideal and the reality could actually be discussed by different characters. Later on, Civil War discussed exactly that. This is Captain America issue 109, which was actually the 9th issue after Captain America was recreated in the 1960s, having been a 1940s comic character. A few issues in, they realised that the backstory, where they had tried to connect the modern Captain America to his predecessor, was a little bit lacking. So in this comic, Nick Fury visits Captain America, and they do a whole sequence of flashbacks where what we now know to be the Captain America backstory is laid out for the readers. And Steve Rogers as a character was really born. There is also a very exciting opportunity for the complete collector to acquire the complete set of all 6 images, matching edition numbered, put together, either on box canvas, or there is also a paper option which you can have framed or in presentation beautiful packaging. So have the collection of all 6 matching edition numbers on this, the last Marvel Superheroes collection that we're going to be releasing.